Hey everybody, and welcome to week 4. This week you'll submit your first major writing assignment about your conceptions about writing, and then we're going to move on to our next unit, which is talking about literacies. So I'll walk you through what we're doing this week, and hopefully this is helpful for you. So the week 4 module is now published. Like always, if you come to the overview page, you'll see the video that I'm recording right here, and then you'll see our schedule of activities. The only thing that you have due by Wednesday is to finish your first major writing assignment and get it submitted. Last week you had a chance to get some feedback from your peers, so take what the feedback that you got and implement it so that you can submit even a better draft. It should reflect your best work. Remember too, the due date is Wednesday, but you have that 48-hour grace period in case something comes up or you can't get it in by Wednesday. So if that's the case, you can still submit the assignment by the end of the day on Friday with no penalty or anything like that. But that's really important, so please make sure that you get that submitted. For Sunday, we're going to switch topics. We're going to move into our new unit, and we're going to talk about this new threshold concept, which you were introduced to in Chapter 1. And the threshold concept is that writing is influenced by identities and prior experiences. As I've been grading some of the work that you've been doing over the course of the semester, I noticed that a lot of you had mentioned that the stuff about threshold concepts was a little bit confusing. And so I just want to address that really quick. So the threshold concepts are basically foundational principles that the authors of our textbook have identified that relate to all kind of aspects of writing and the field of writing studies. So as we go through the semester, we're going to be working with different threshold concepts. So this one, for example, writing is influenced by identities and prior experiences, you'll see ties into some of the work you do this week and in the coming weeks as you start to work towards your second major writing assignment, which asks you to think about your identities and prior experiences and how those have influenced you as a writer. So hopefully that kind of clarifies things a little bit about what we're talking about when we talk about threshold concepts. You don't need to memorize them necessarily. It seemed like some of you may have thought that that was going to be something you'd need to do. You don't need to. We'll be working with these throughout the semester. So next thing you need to do is just read the assignment description for the second major writing assignment, the literacy narrative. And I put a little note here that you don't need to actually complete it. It's not due this week. You just need to read it so that you know what we're working on for these next few weeks. Then I've got some more reading for you to do in our textbook. Just read the introduction to Chapter 5, which is all about literacies. It's on pages 254 to 257. And then we've got an essay or an article by someone named Deborah Brandt called Sponsors of Literacy. And I want you to read that as well. It's in our textbook, and it's on pages 258 to 280. After you do that, I'll ask you to do an assignment where you reflect on the essay that you read from Deborah Brandt. And then, of course, like always, your week 4 process portfolio entry. So let's just kind of move through the module really quick. You can kind of see how this looks. So again, for Wednesday, first thing you need to do is submit major writing assignment 1. You'll see it here where you can submit what you've done. Next thing is to read the assignment description for major writing assignment number 2. So that looks like this. You can see the rubric for the major writing assignment so that you have an idea of how I'll be grading it when that time comes. And then I've just got a little screenshot here so that you can see what that reading from Chapter 5 looks like. And then again, this essay called Sponsors of Literacy, which is also in our textbook. And once you've done that, this assignment that I'm asking you to do, where you reflect on what you read from the Sponsors of Literacy reading, has 7 questions. I just want you to pick 2 of them and respond to each one in about 200 words each. So read through these, whichever one you think is going to best help you kind of think through concepts that you read or things that will lead you best toward that second major writing assignment. This is a great time to start kind of thinking along those lines, like what what will you start to write about for that second major writing assignment? Use this assignment as a stepping stone for that. And then the last thing is our process portfolio entry. Now, this one I do want to spend just a second on. So basically, after you do the readings for this week, you'll get a sense for what literacy is. And one of the ways that I like to think about literacy is it's what we know, how we came to know it, and what opportunities we had that made that learning experience possible. So for this week's reflection, this process portfolio entry, I want you to start thinking about some of the identities that you carry that have influenced your literacies. They've influenced your experiences, and therefore they've influenced your literacies. So I've linked this thing called an identity wheel. It looks like this. I want you to spend some time just thinking about these different dimensions that have influenced some of your identities. You do not have to turn this in. Some of this might be kind of personal, and so I'm not asking to see this, but I do want you to spend some time just thinking about how does your geographic location or your nationality and birthplace or your age, how do all these different things kind of factor in to who you are as a person and the identities that you carry? How have they influenced the experiences that you've had over the course of your life, and therefore the literacies that you've come to develop? Once you've done that, I want you to then develop a literacy timeline. You can do this either on the computer digitally, or you can just write it on a piece of paper if you prefer to do it that way. Either way is fine. I've put just a basic screenshot of what a literacy timeline could look like from birth to the present. But what you're going to do is fill this in with as many different experiences as you can think of that have influenced your literacies, the things that you know how to do, the things that how you came to learn them, the experiences that you've had that have allowed you to learn these things. If you have literacy sponsors that you're thinking of, you can add these to the timeline. What this will do is help you with major writing assignment number 2 to start brainstorming some of these experiences that you might write about in that assignment. So please be sure to turn this in by Sunday of this coming week, and then we'll be finished with week 4. We'll move on to week 5 after that. As always, if you have questions, I'm here to help. Please ask, and I'll be glad to help. Thanks, everybody.